In our last video, we got a very nice looking form attached to our site, but it doesn't actually do anything yet. In this video, we are going to wire that up to the back end. To get our form working though, actually requires some changes to the HTML form itself first. By default, the clean blog template expects us to be using their JavaScript file in order to do the form handling for us. We are not going to do that. Instead, we are going to use an HTTP method, and we will do that within Python shortly. Within our form element, we need to add method equals post. Remember that we looked at HTTP methods before. The get method is used for retrieving data from the server, whereas the post method is used for sending data to the server. What we also need to do is give each of our input elements a name attribute. It's usually best to have the name match the ID, so within the input field for someone's name, I will add name equals name, since the ID is equal to name as well. Next, the input field for email address, so I will just add name equals email to match that of the ID. The reason we are adding a name attribute for each is because that is how Python will refer to the different fields in our form, so we need to give them all a name attribute. Next, the input field for phone number, so I will add name equals phone to match the ID. Finally, the text area box for a message, and this will get name equals message. Now that each of our form elements have the appropriate name attribute, we can refresh our form, try to fill it out again, and see what happens. When I click on Send Now, I get an error, method not allowed. You can also see that it's a 405 method not allowed error on the page tab as well. So this is an error from our server. If I go back and have a look inside of the terminal, you can see that I have a red post error with a response of 405 from the server. The reason this is happening is because by default, all of Flask's views will handle a GET request. If we need to start handling anything outside of that, such as post or the other methods, delete or put, then we need to explicitly state that our root can accept those methods. Within the run.py file, we need to go to our contact root, and we will add in another argument. After the URL path of /contact, I will add a comma, followed by methods equals square brackets, the word get inside of quotes, comma, and then the word post also inside of quotes. Even if we only have a single method for post, the list variable still needs to be called methods. Let's save the file and go back to our contact form, then try filling it out again with some fake data, click on Send, and then see what happens. We are no longer getting an error, but again, we also don't get anything back. So how exactly do we know that it's actually working? Well, one of the ways is by having a look at the debugger in the terminal. You'll notice my previous request of posting the contact form resulted in a 405 error, which was that the method was not allowed. This time when we did it, we got a 200 response code, and as we remember before, the 200 response code means that's okay, everything worked fine. We can actually do something with that data now. The first thing we need to do is import the request library from Flask. Request is going to handle things like finding out what method we used, and it will also contain our form object when we've posted it. Within our contact view, we'll just add an if statement, and we are going to use the method of the request object. If request.method is equal to post. To test this, I will just print in the debugger window, hello, is anybody there? Let's save that and try submitting our form again now. Once again, I will use my name with a bunch of fake data just to test with, and then click on Send. The page reloads, the form is empty again, and now when we go back to our debugger, we can actually see that the message, hello, is anybody there, has been printed into our terminal because we were using the request method of post. The request object has a lot more things attached to it as well. When we submit a form, it actually has the form object attached. Remember that we gave each of our form elements the name attribute? Let's see what happens if we print request.form. Once again, save that, go back to our contact form, and I will add more test data into the form and click on Send. In the terminal debugger, you can see that we have this thing called an immutable multi-dictionary. But there it is. We have the data that came through from our form. My name, email address, phone number, and a message, all being passed through our post method with a status code of 200. So it worked. Because this is a dictionary, we can actually use a standard Python method of accessing the keys for that dictionary. If I print request.form.get and then the name key within quotes and brackets, then this will allow us to get the name value from our form. When I reload the page, it will ask if I want to resubmit the form instead of having to fill out everything again. Sure enough, back in the debugger, it's printed out just the value of the name input using request.form.get name. I want to quickly show you another way to do the same thing. Instead of request.form.get, I will make a copy of this and use request.form email, but this time inside of square brackets and not using the .get method. I'll resubmit the form once again and then see what gets returned into the debugger now. By using .get, if the form doesn't actually have a key of name or email, for example, then it would just display none by default. However, by just using request.form square brackets, if there isn't a name or email key on our form, instead of returning none, it would throw an exception. That's how we can access a form's data from the back end of our site. As we said, we are not going to be sending emails in this video, but in our next video, we will have a look at how to provide feedback to the user.